It has been said that the island of New Guinea contains more strange and beautiful natural objects than any other part of the world. There are certainly few sights more strange or beautiful than the birds of paradise. The male's courtship dances are among the most bizarre and flamboyant displays seen in the animal kingdom. The rainforests of New Guinea, where these extraordinary birds live, are dense and impenetrable. They could not contrast more with the temperate forests of Hokkaido in Japan, which are leafless and stark in winter. Tadashi Shimada, a Japanese wildlife filmmaker, is planning the journey of a lifetime. Tadashi's passion is birds. Over the years, he's filmed many species across the globe, including the exquisite azure kingfisher as it dives and catches fish in an Australian stream. Astonishingly, it seizes the fish with its eyes closed. He has also succeeded in filming other species, such as paradise kingfishers in the rainforests of Australia, as they swoop down to catch insects and lizards. It took him many months to film the kingfishers, as they tried to keep pace with their chicks' growing appetites.
I've been filming kingfishers across the globe for over 30 years. They're special birds for me. I believe the moment when an animal catches its prey is the time when it's at its most wild.
But now there are other challenges ahead. For Tadashi, the rainforests of New Guinea contain the ultimate filmmaker's dream, the birds of paradise. This quest has taken him 2 years. But Tadashi is a relative newcomer on the scene. Europeans first encountered these beautiful birds in the early 16th century. The native people of New Guinea have lived close to and revered these birds for thousands of years. Even now, local people perform ritual dances called sing-sing, using the magnificent plumage of many species of birds of paradise as the crowning glory in their elaborate costumes. These headdresses have been handed down from one generation to the next. They are carefully preserved in sealed bamboo tubes in the smoky rafters of the house to protect them from insects and damp. The local people used to catch the birds by finding their display grounds and setting a snare of forest twine, or waiting in a hide with bow and arrow at the ready. These ancient headdresses were used as a sign of wealth or status. In order to marry, a man had to give plumes from the birds of paradise to buy his bride. The beautiful green breast shield from the superb bird of paradise is highly prized. This is the first bird Tadashi plans to film. The males don't acquire their full adult plumage until they are 4 years old. This dance is inspired by the courtship display of the superb bird of paradise, but nothing can match the real thing. The superb bird of paradise performs its courtship dance in the trees. Tadashi has heard of these elaborate rituals, but he has yet to see them in the wild. According to local people, the superb bird of paradise often visits a particular group of fruit trees after dawn. Soon after Tadashi arrives, a male starts feeding high in the canopy. Birds of paradise mostly eat fruit, leaves, flowers, and insects, though they will sometimes eat frogs or even lizards. Many rainforest plants rely on the birds of paradise to disperse their seeds. The trees where the birds display are used year after year and are usually some distance away from the fruit trees where they feed. It took 3 days for Tadashi to track down the superb bird of paradise's dancing stage, 20 meters up in the canopy of a dancing tree. Most dancing trees are within sight of another male's territory. In order to get closer and avoid filming against the light, Tadashi will have to build a platform high in a nearby tree. But here, nothing is simple. Much of the rainforest is divided up and owned by local villagers. And Tadashi knows that before he can build a platform to film the birds, he will have to gain the permission from the local village chief. These villagers guard their rainforests and take care that the birds' precious dancing grounds are preserved. Before granting permission, they need to be convinced that the team will do nothing to disturb the birds or damage the dance site, which may be used by the same birds over many years. Knowledge of the whereabouts of different dance arenas used to be jealously guarded by different clans or individuals who passed it on from one generation to the next. Tadashi has also asked the villagers to help him build the tower. While Tadashi and his team use nails, the villagers use fibers from the forest to bind the structure together. These string fibers come from a wild plant called rattan, which holds timbers tightly and doesn't loosen. The first time the ladder was built using nails, it collapsed without warning. The rattan proved to be much stronger, which is why local people still use it for building their own houses.
いい高さだったな。
When the platform is finished, it's 10 meters high and only 15 meters away from the dancing stage in a nearby tree. The male superb bird of paradise visits the dancing stage every morning and evening, but he will only display if a female is nearby. Tadashi is also ready and waiting. The moment arrives, his first sighting of a superb bird of paradise displaying in the wild. It erects an immense cape with plumes 130 millimeters long, covering its back like an umbrella. The adult female is very different, mostly drab brown and black. This is the only time male and female paths cross. Once the male has achieved a high status, he will then try to mate with as many females as possible. He repeatedly flashes his breast shield and flicks his cape over his head, fluttering his wings to produce a clicking sound. Surely any female will be impressed by a display as dramatic and exotic as this. Now it is easy to understand why the people of New Guinea have been so inspired by the birds which share their forests. Another bird of paradise can be found living much closer to people. Only 5 minutes away from the nearest cottage, Tadashi comes across the dancing stage of this bird of paradise on the edge of the forest, close to open fields. Unlike the superb bird of paradise, this time the stage is on the ground. The male has removed every leaf and scrap of debris from the bare earth, leaving an arena about 2 square meters where he will perform as soon as a female approaches. Local people believe that this bird has magical powers.
The bird coming here can heal our diseases. You should rub your diseased part with the leaf of a fern. Then you should throw it into the arena. When the male arrives, he will immediately remove it from the stage, and your disease will be healed.
Early the next morning, a black bird arrives at the arena. This is the owner of the dance stage, a male Law's Parotia. The iridescent feather shield on his chest is in stark contrast to the rest of the bird's dark plumage. A tuft of 3 long wire-shafted plumes emerges from behind each eye. It doesn't take him long to notice the leaves which the villager threw onto the ground. He begins to flick each leaf away with a sharp twist of his beak until the stage is spotless. Occasionally, males have been known to